Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today we're going to talk about the different types of stackers that are out there. Now you may have heard the term stacker, silver stacker, gold stacker before. Basically it's just somebody who puts away precious metals for whatever reason. Doesn't matter what your reasoning is, but this video we're going to talk about the different types of stackers that are out there. I want to know why you started stacking. Did you start stacking because you saw a cool YouTube video, or maybe your parents or grandparents did, or maybe you just collected stamps and you decided the hell with stamps, it's time to get into silver? Comment and let me know. Now without further ado, let's just get into it. So the topic of this video clearly is the different types of stackers that there are out there. Now before I get into how I got started and why I started stacking, I want to just go over the different types of stackers that there are. We're going to talk about the shtf stackers, the ones that are just into it for investing, or the collectors. We're going to talk about the hobbyist and the ones that are using this as kind of like a liquid savings account. And the first kind of stacker we're going to talk about is on the long end of the extreme scale. Now this type of stacker is what I like to call the shtf stacker. And the shtf stacker is basically stacking for a doomsday scenario, whatever it may be.
Do you really think the world's going around?
Yes.
Shouldn't we lie down or put a paper bag over our heads or something?
Well, if you'd like.
Will it help?
Not at all.
They're saving their silver for the day that it becomes the new currency, the new barter system, if you will. Now, these types of stackers, they're going to go for your generic, American Eagles. They're going to go for other commonly known silver like the maple leaf here. So these are two common coins that you're going to see a lot of shtf stackers have in their collection, their stack, whatever you want to call it. Now, the other thing that you're going to know with these doomsday stackers, they love generic rounds, they love constitutional silver, the junk silver. That's the type of stuff that's going to work in a barter system. If that were to happen, that's the type of silver you're going to want. They'll typically stay away from the 10 ounces and larger because that's harder to barter with, it's harder to get rid of. The value in being an shtf stacker in my eyes is they have value in volume because they're buying so much silver at such a low cost, or so much gold at such a low cost. Their dollar cost averaging is pretty low, which means they're not spending that much on their silver. So when the time comes to get rid of it, whether it's by selling it or by bartering with it, it's going to have a way more value. They have lots more of it, so that's why I think that they have value in volume. The second type of stacker that we're going to talk about is the investor. Now your investors love the graded coins, whether it's the bullion or even just US currency. They also like to buy in bulk, so they're going to be buying tubes of coins, whether it's just your generic rounds or your whatever type of coin that they're into. Your investor is going to have a larger stack of higher premium items. Now I like to say with the investors, they buy with the intention solely to sell at a later date for substantial profit, not just a small profit, for a substantial profit. So they're also looking to get silver at a bottom dollar. The common thread here you're going to see is everybody's looking to get silver at the bottom dollar. Everybody's looking to get it as cheap as possible, but you have to think about why you're stacking. If you're stacking for different reasons, you may want different coins. You may be willing to spend a little bit more on your premiums because of why you're stacking. With investors, I like to say that their value is in their growth because they're continually adding to that stack. They're continuing to add a diverse array of coins to their stack. So an investor is a thumbs up type of stacker in my book. The third type of stacker we're going to talk about here is the collector. Now the collector buys more with their emotion and they're not really concerned with the long-term gains. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, this is a perfect example. I consider myself a bit of a collector. I think most of us consider ourselves a bit of a collector. Now, this here is a Mutiny Metals bar. This is a 2-ounce bar. This company is awesome. They're a small shop, a pawn shop in the middle of Idaho. They do this stuff and in the back of their shop. It's a father-son team. I like supporting these guys. They've supported me in the past, so I like to give back to them as well. And they make these really cool, unique little bars. Now, they do have a higher premium than a regular old generic bar, but they're unique, they're different. And I think that's the cool thing with the collector is they have a wide array of different types of coins, or bars in this case. A collector to me would be somebody that purchases a coin like the Morgan. Now the Morgan is a cool coin. It is not worth that much. The premium asking price is a little ridiculous. If it's going to hold up over time, who actually knows? But again, they buy more with their emotion. Now the value in a collector is the diversity that they have. They have a wide array of diversity. These different types of coins. I love art bars. They're hard to come by. They're very unique and you don't see them that often. This one here is raised. It's not a flat bar. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a little raised, and that's, to me, is very cool. You don't see this very often, and me liking coins and bars like this, I think would put a check in the collector column for me. I don't think I fall under one category, just like I don't think most of us fall under one category when it comes to stacking. I think we start for one reason and end up doing it for another reason. The fourth kind of stacker I want to talk about today is a stacker that I've kind of mentioned before. It kind of falls under the hobbyist. You know, it's a little sprinkle of a hobbyist and a little sprinkle of an investor. To me, it's somebody who does this as a hobby. It's a way to collect things. They do it for fun. They have lots of hobbies. But in my eyes, a hobbyist is somebody who has a hobby that makes them money. This is something I enjoy doing. It's also an investment for me. It's a collection for me. It's a little bit of everything. And I think that's very unique with this type of quote unquote hobby, because it gives back to you just as much as you give into it. So that's a cool thing to think about with being a hobbyist when it comes to collecting silver or gold or whatever type of precious metal you're into. I like to say that a hobbyist has value in variance. And what I mean by that is, you know, they'll take a little bit of risk for a long-term sustainability. Now with the hobbyists, they tend to follow trends a lot more. They're gonna buy your, you know, your silly little coins like this, the Morgan, the things that are coming from private mints that may or may not be worth something in the future. They're kind of gambling with it. Collectors will do the same thing, but there's usually a more of an emotional reasoning behind it. Now with a hobbyist, you know, they could just be buying it because they saw an advertisement for it and they think, hey, that's cool.
I like it a lot.
There's nothing wrong with that, but I just think that's a different type of stacker. They're not really looking for long-term sustainability, which isn't a bad thing. It's not a terrible thing. But again, like I said, the value in being a hobbyist is you have value in variance. The last kind of stacker that we're going to talk about here is one that I was very hesitant to even put on the list in the first place. Now, I don't know what the right word or terminology would be for this type of stacker, so I'm going to call it the saving stacker. Now, a saving stacker to me is somebody who's basically either short or long-term savings for a specific reason, whether it's, hey, I want to buy a new boat. I'm going to put away a little bit of silver here and there, a little bit of gold here and there, or hey, I'm looking to save for a house and I want money that I know that I have access to, but I don't really want to be able to spend very easily. And silver, gold, all that precious metal, it's all wonderful for that liquidity. And that's one of the things that I think is beautiful about being a savings stacker is you have value in liquidity, which means you can sell and buy at any time to make a little bit of profit here. Maybe you break even there, but it's basically money in the bank. It's money that you know you have easy access to. You can go to a coin shop, you can go to a pawn shop, you can go online and sell it. You know that you can get your money right out whenever you want. If you go to a bank and you've got 10 grand in the bank, you may have to sign some forms and answer some questions, and it's a pain in the butt. So it's nice to have this liquidity here, easy access to short-term money or long-term money, depending on what the reason is why you're saving in the first place. All right, so let's talk about why I started stacking. Well, I started stacking, I think I actually saw some videos around the same time the stock market crashed in 2009. I had a lot of money in my 401k. I'd been paying into it for over 10 years, and then overnight, my money just basically disappeared.
Well, that's fantastic. A really smart decision, young man. We can put that check in a money market mutual fund. Then we'll reinvest the earnings into foreign currency accounts with compounding interest, and it's gone.
What's all gone?
The money in your account. It didn't do too well. It's gone.
What do you mean? I have $100.
Not anymore, you don't. Poof.
A lot of my money had vanished and I panicked. At the time, my company was getting bought out by another company. There was a lot of layoffs, so I was unemployed. It was a crazy time, and I thought the stock market is no way to go for a savings. If your money can just disappear like that, that's never good. Somehow I stumbled onto YouTube videos. I found Silver Shareholder and a bunch of other people online. And, you know, next thing you know, I'm buying silver. And if you look through my channel, you can pretty much see when I started buying silver. And I started with the cheap stuff. I started buying the generic rounds to get as much as cheap as possible. And then I started to find the cool stuff. You know, I love monkeys, so I started buying these lunar coins. And then you start to go into coin shops and you find these other unique coins. This was the very first coin that I purchased in a coin shop near my house. It was a friend of a friend's, and I got it for exactly spot. I couldn't tell you what it was at the time, but this coin was the very first one that I bought, and this started everything for me. And that's kind of why I wanted to share this with you. It doesn't matter what you buy, where you buy it, how you buy it. It's just important that you buy it. Get out there, spend your money on the right stuff. You know, every time you spend your money, think about how much silver or gold you could have put back. It's something that drives you crazy once you start stacking, and I know a lot of us can relate to that because I myself did the same thing when I first started. I'm curious to know where you fall. Are you one of the stackers that I mentioned here? Are you saving for an SHTF scenario? Are you looking to invest for long-term, short-term? Are you trying to save for a house? Are you like me and you're kind of looking for like a little bit of everything? You kind of got into it for one reason and it turned into another. Comment down below. In the end, guys, I think it's really important to just remember to put this stuff back for whatever's important to you, whether it's a house or your personal finances when you get old, or maybe it's for your children. Whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter. Just put it away, just like you would do with a 401k or anything else. Just put it away. Don't think about it. Let it sit, let it rot, and dig it out when the time is right. If you're not already subscribed, don't forget to click that subscribe button in the corner. And if you like what you see here, go ahead and mash that like button. Peace out, YouTube.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.